guess it's about time we should get this show on the road, shall we? Ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, folks, it's time for the one and only world famous Rich Wilson Show.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the world famous Rich Wilson Show.
Yeah, that's right, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome once again to the world famous Rich Wilson Show. I'm Rich Wilson, and you're not. Whew. Hope you guys got cups of coffee. How you doing? Damn, that one's good. Anyway, folks, welcome to the program. I hope everything's going well for you today. I know a bunch of my viewers are out at a LARPing event today out in Central Texas. So, guys, stay safe out there. Make sure you keep yourself hydrated. It's supposed to be warm during the day, and keep yourself bundled up at night. It's supposed to be cold. All right, so anyway, ladies and gentlemen, what we've got for you tonight is Joe Biden. I know. Everybody's like, well, that's not very exciting. Yeah, it is. By the way, folks, if you want to support the channel, take yourself over to therichwilsonshow.com. Click on Shop Now. You'll find all kinds of cool merchandise. And also, in the link provided where you came in to see the show, at the very bottom it says support the stream. You can also click on a donation. Send a couple bucks our way because doing this is not free. So anyway, folks, let's get on with it. So Joe Biden seemed to forget who he was, who his wife was, who the vice president was, and the vice president's husband. Seems to forget all of that. I'll let you watch this and let you decide on exactly just how bad it got.
Look at, I was going to say, look at this stage, but that's enough too. Look at the stage. But there's been a little change in the arrangement of who's on the stage because of the First Lady's husband contracting COVID. But look at this room and what you see. Pardon? That's right. She's fine. It's me. That's not together. The second lady, the first gentleman. How about that? Anyway, an incredible group of members of Congress led by Nancy.
Okay, so he got that wrong all the way across. How long before I can yell at AT&T for failure to provide services? I don't know. So here's the thing. Okay, the President of the United States, his wife is the First Lady. And he said the husband of the First Lady, which that's him. Well, the President doesn't have COVID. So then what he tried to say is the first the first husband. Well, the only way you would have a first husband is if you had a female as the President of the United States. Or if you had a gay man that was married, he would have a first husband. But you would not, but that's still not the Vice President of the United States. Okay, so what he's actually referring to is the Vice President of the United States, her husband, which is the second husband. Okay. The spouse of the Vice President of the United States is the second, whether it's be husband or it's wife. He just messed that up completely. Like, he got confused. I like how he tried to cover that up when he's like the husband of the first lady's husband. And then he's like, he's getting reminded off stage by, somebody in his press or somebody in his advisory corps. And then he's like, oh shit, the husband of the first lady that's me. And you see this look of surprise on his face, like, oops. And tries to clear that up real quick, going, well, that's me. And then what's funny about that is then he tried to say the first husband, which that's not what Kamala Harris's husband's referred to. He would be referred to as the second gentleman, or the second husband, whichever one you want to call it. But the second gentleman, that's who he is, because he's married to the vice president, who is, so he would be the second husband or second gentleman. That's our president, folks. Doesn't even know the names of his own people. Now, somebody could say, well, because we've never had a female vice president before, or we've never had a male married to the vice president before, so he got confused. Well, I mean, when you're in office for 700 years, when you were there at the Declaration of Independence, I guess, you get confused. I mean, I'm joking about the fact that he was around for the signing of the Declaration of Independence. I believe he's the one that told God light would be a good idea. But still, that's not good. And you see this absolute look of surprise on his face when they're correcting him. When he suddenly dawns on him, the husband of the first lady is the president of the United States currently. And it's just this look of, oops. Kill Mills wondering how long before I can yell at AT&T for failure to provide services. Immediately, if you're paying the bill. If you're paying the bill and you're not getting service, I would be yelling at them immediately. Because what the hell are you paying the bill for? So Biden gave a speech concerning protections for women who are in abused relationships the other day. In fact, it was yesterday. And he decided to make a rather interesting comment. And I understand the purpose behind it, but it's the way that it came across. So check this out.
So we established a new civil rights cause of action for those whose intimate images were shared on the public screen. How many times have you heard, I'll bet everybody knows somebody somewhere along the line, that in an intimate relationship, what happened was the guy takes a revealing picture of his naked friend or whatever in a compromising position, and then, literally, in a sense, blackmails or mortifies that person. Send it out, put it online.
Okay, now, Joe Biden talking about people doing revenge porn, because that's what it is. It's called revenge porn. That in itself is creepy. Okay? That by itself is pretty creepy. But the way he came across it wasn't very clear. First of all, talking about revenge porn and being able to do something about it being a civil right, that's not exactly how civil rights really work. So the use of the wrong terminology, protections in the law, which actually already exist, by the way. We don't need a law. What we need to do is we need to have stronger laws that protect people who are in abusive relationships to be able to report them and not feel like the person they reported is going to kill them for reporting it. Okay? We need enforcement of that, and we need programs in which to get them far, far away. And we also need programs that put people in prison that do these kinds of things. And they need to be, they need to be a little bit more, they need to be a lot more, stronger. We also need to stop focusing on the fact that it only happens to women. That would be another good start. But every time we talk about laws about abuse, we talk about how women are abused. And is that a majority of the abuse? Well, there is no clear statistics on this. And the reason why there's no clear statistics on this is because in a lot of situations, in a lot of law enforcement, and I it's one of the things that I hate to say exist as a former law enforcement officer. When a man comes in claiming he's being abused by a spouse, it's not taken as seriously, and it should be. And I never had someone report it to me, but I never had a man report it to me, even though I know what it's like. I've been in a relationship before, long ago, in an abusive relationship, and no, I didn't report it either. The stigma out there is that, men are less of a man if they report it. Well, that's bullshit, and I tell you that right now. If you're out there right now, gentlemen, and you're in a relationship that's abusive, get the hell out of it. Find a way to get out of it. If you're scared for your life, then make an escape plan. Try to find a way to make it happen. Men get abused too, but during this speech, it was focused on how to protect women, and that's fine. That's perfectly fine. We don't have statistics to prove it, but as of right now, the numbers that we do have, women are, astronomically abused more than men are in relationships. But once again, those statistics aren't exactly accurate because either one, a majority of men don't report it. Number two, law enforcement doesn't take it seriously. Or number three, they don't keep statistics on it because that number is so low that it's not a percent. It doesn't even register as a percentage. Now, Biden was trying to talk about something about somebody taking photographs of you and then threatening to put it online to blackmail you into doing things. We saw this quite a bit in the beginning of the 2000s where teenage girls were falling victim to pedophiles who were convincing them to take photographs of themselves naked, and then they were threatening to put it online. They were threatening to put it, to boards where classmates were. There was a couple particular instances that caused suicide because of it. And what Biden's talking about is in a new bill that they're working on, putting in protections. Well, let me, first of all, two pieces of advisement on the legal front. Okay. Number one, I don't recommend taking nude photographs of yourself and sending it to somebody you're thinking about dating, or somebody that you may not even be dating, but is a smooth talker. I wouldn't send them anything. If you are in a long-term relationship or married and you feel like you have that trust, and not because you're being abused, but because you honestly feel like you have that kind of a trust between you and your significant other, that's fine. But here's the thing. There's no real reason to send nudes to each other if you're in a long-term living together relationship, because honestly, if you want to see the goods, go home. Go see your significant other without anything on. I mean, until you have memory problems, seeing it firsthand is a lot better than seeing a photograph of it. Now, that being said, if somebody has your photographs and you do not give them authorization to put it online or to distribute it, that person can face a crime. It's a misdemeanor up to a felony in most states. If you put photographs of an individual, it becomes a felony when those photographs are considered indecent without your express authorization. There's already crimes for this. And if you know who you sent your photos to, it's not going to be difficult to narrow it down. Now, here's where some people get caught in this trap. Some people get caught in this trap because it's a person they've never met a day in their life. So it's a fake person, a fake account, fake persona, and you just sent this photograph off into oblivion to whoever, that's where you run into problems. But if you know this individual, it's not going to be difficult to contact law enforcement and get that person arrested. Just because you gave them the photograph of you being nude does not give them authorization to publicly display it. Just because you take photographs of friends with your phone doesn't necessarily give you permission to distribute them publicly. My girlfriend will tell you that anytime I take a picture that has her involved in it, I ask her if I can post it on social media. Why? Because I've been in relationships before where I took a photograph of myself and my significant other, put it online, and then they got mad. Hell, I was using pictures that were taken of me by someone else in my original podcasting, and because that person bought into the bullshit about me, decided to tell me just at random, you don't have permission to use the photographs I took of you, which is your right. If you have taken photographs of somebody and then they're using those photographs in a bad way, you as the original photographer, as long as you can prove it, can take away authorization for them to use it. And no, folks, don't get into this bullshit, well, it's not copyrighted, so I could do what I want with it. No, that's not true. Now, if you specifically ask the person, hey, you took these pictures of me, do you mind if I use them online? No, go ahead for it. You now have authorization. It's now a lot harder for them to withdraw it. They can't just withdraw that authorization by simply saying, oh, you don't have permission to use it anymore. My problem was I didn't originally ask that individual if I could use those photos for my podcast. So when that person said, you can't use the pictures I took of you on your podcast, okay, cool, understandable. Took them down immediately. So understand, if somebody takes pictures of you and puts them online and you don't want them there, you simply tell them they don't have permission to do so. If they continue to do so, you can press charges against them for it. Now, if they're not any specific type, it's just like, say, you're standing outside your car, then you're going to have to sue them. You're not going to get criminal charges. But if it is pictures of a revealing nature, then yes, you can. You can have charges pressed against them. If somebody puts a picture of you where you're nude, it's a felony at that point. If you're scantily clad, it can be a misdemeanor. So understand, there are laws in most states that prohibit that kind of action anyway. Are they enforced? Not really. What you have to do is you have to push your law enforcement. Hey, this is not right. I've told them to stop. They're now blackmailing me. Now that becomes another crime. If I have, okay, so let's use this example. If someone has a picture of you and attempts to extort money or attempts to extort favors out of you, that in itself is a felony. If they do it online, that becomes a federal offense. A lot of people don't know this, and so you have the president, which like I said, I understand what he was saying. I was just making a reference to the fact that him saying it sounds creepy. But I understand what he's saying about this because a lot of people don't understand there's already laws in place for this. We don't need more. We need enforcement of it. If somebody goes online and blackmails you with photos of you, it's extortion. It's a felony. If they do it online, it's a federal offense. So just think about that for a minute. These laws already exist. And people need to be educated on this so they can do something about this. So they can turn around and say, oh, wait a minute, that's a crime. So you can respond back to the person. If the person goes, well, I've got these pictures of you naked and I'm going to put them online for everybody to see. Go for it. It becomes a federal crime. You're going to go to federal prison for this. Oops. I evidently forgot to turn my ringer off again. That's because it's saying that we're going to get rain in the next however long. I get these quite often. So just think about that. So when somebody does this, notify them. Well, you're going to go to federal prison if you do. Especially if they're in another state. If they're not in the same state as you, that's crossing state lines. Actually, at that point, you can get the FBI involved. Most people don't know that. And so laws, like I said, already exist for these kinds of things. And people need to be educated. But once again, like I said before, do I believe that we need stronger... thank you, Garrison. Just hit like over there. Anyway, do we need stronger laws in place to protect people who are abused? Yes, we do. Do we need stricter penalties for people who are abused? Yes, we do. Or for not people who are abused, but for abusers? Yes, we do. I think personally we're too soft on a lot of violent crimes. You got people who murder other people or commit violent acts that get out of prison in no time flat. Some of these these prison sentences are a joke. And when you make them a joke, there's no reason out there for people to obey the law. Look at what happened a couple days ago where the guy goes into a lobby area where there's an Asian woman and hits this woman 130 plus times between punching and kicking her. He even stops part of the way through it to take a breath, to compose himself, and then commence to beating the brakes off of her even further. What's going to happen to that guy? Nothing. He's going to get a light sentence. He's going to if he's already got a record, he might get 5 years unless she dies from her actions, from her injuries. He's going to get a light sentence because right now it's considered assault with the attempt to maim. 5 years before he can be out on parole. What kind of penalty is that for a guy that almost killed her? Now, if she dies, then based on his actions, you could tell he was trying to kill her. Then it becomes another thing. Then it becomes 20 years. But still, is that violent offenders don't need to see the light of day again. People are like, oh, we can reform them. Really? Really? A lot of these violent offenders, in fact, more than half, commit the same crimes again when they get out of prison. More than half. Now, I know there's going to be somebody who's going to make a comment. He's going to go, well, I know somebody who didn't. They never... Okay, cool. They're part of the less than 50%. I think it's somewhere in the neighborhood of like almost 80% of violent offenders, when they get out of prison, commit violent offenses again. And some people say, oh, well, that's just they're just a product of the system of not, really trying to reform these people before they get out of prison. Let's stop and think about this. You knowingly attacked someone, whether you beat the brakes off of them on purpose, you raped them, you did whatever you did to them, right? You think taking away your freedom would be a message, don't do this. I mean, it's bad enough the message should already exist in their head. It's a bad idea to do this. You should not rape someone. You should not beat the brakes off of someone. Okay? That should already be in your head. It's called morality, But if you don't have that and you do that, then the next lesson is we're taking your freedom away from you. And then if you behave yourself and let yourself back out, if you don't want to lose your freedom again, maybe you shouldn't do it again. What other kind of reform do you need? Oh, well, psychologically, they may think this is the right thing to do. But still, shouldn't the first clue that you've done something wrong is when your ass loses your freedom? There's nothing you can do to help teach these people that what you did was bad and you shouldn't do it again unless there's a screw loose. Now, if there's a screw loose, then why are we letting them back into society? Why not they serve time and then they go to a facility where they can be looked after? If we've determined it's a psychological problem, then we can get them on the right track. Maybe before these guys get out of prison, they should have to go through a certain amount of psychological study and education. Then they could determine, okay, this person's good as long as we have him on this. If he comes off of these meds, he's liable to do it again. Okay, well then that's a screw loose. That's not a normal human being that decided, fuck it, I'm going to beat the brakes off of this person because I don't like him. That's a person that has a morality issue. Then that's not a screw loose. That's a person who decides, screw it, I'm beating this person to death. That's a person who should never, ever, ever see the light of day. So they're talking about this legislation, and that's what Joe Biden was involved in. It's a 45-minute video, and I didn't want to put it up because the whole thing. I just kind of wanted to center on the, wow, that was kind of creepy, Joe. But revenge porn is a thing. Blackmailing and stuff like that. But like I said, again, there's already laws for it. There's already laws on the books. If somebody has photographs of you and decides to blackmail you for it, it's extortion. If they want to get something out of you for it. Okay. And then that's against the law. If they do it online, that's a federal crime. Contact your law enforcement when this shit happens. Get that person thrown in jail. Second of all, don't ever give any photographs away of yourself to people you've never met a day in your life. Okay? Never. I don't give a damn how good or how, he or she convinces or talks to you and how smooth they seem. Don't give them photos of yourself. Just don't. Okay? That will help you out. If you're a child, if you ain't even the age of 18 yet, you should never send pictures of yourself to anyone. Especially someone you met online. Because the majority of the dudes you meet online are pedophiles. That's the sad part about it. The internet was one of the most great and most horrible things ever invented. If you're under the age of 18, don't send your photographs to anyone. No one. Especially anything that you know. Here's the deal. Here's a good key of what when you shouldn't do it. If you know your parents will get ticked off at you for doing it, probably a bad idea. Okay? It's probably, it's not even probably, it's a don't do it. If you have to sit there and go, I know this person will get pissed at me if I do it, then don't do it. If your subconscious is telling you this is a bad idea, don't do it. Now, I know some of my friends are like, no, yeah, but that takes out the excitement of life when you don't go hold my beer. But there's just sometimes in life when your brain goes, no, that you should listen to it. You really should. But enough of that subject. Now, since we're on the President of the United States and goofy shit involving him, I decided tonight we would showcase some of his highlights. Now, here's the thing. Somebody already sent me a private message going, hey, Rich, why don't you talk about St. Patrick's Day? Here's the deal. St. Patrick's Day, March 17th. Why don't we really get into discussion about St. Patrick's Day? Probably because it's one of the most racist holidays that exists. Okay? Commercialization of emphasizing a huge group of individuals for drinking and partying and doing all kinds of stupid things. That's what it's turned into. That's not what St. Patrick's Day was about, but that's what it's turned into. You know, assaulting people. And it's I don't like really doing shows on St. Patrick's Day about it. So that's why I'm not talking about it. I'm not going to do a show on about St. Patrick's Day because what it's turned into. Now, if I gave you a history lesson about the origins of St. Patrick's Day, people would turn around and be like, well, that's not why I enjoy St. Patrick's Day. Yeah, how do you enjoy St. Patrick's Day? Well, I go to a bar and I wear green and I go to a bar and get drunk. Folks, that right there shows it. I know a lot of people like that tonight. They're going to be at a bar, drinking green beer, wearing green, getting drunk, and they're going to think that's the way to celebrate St. Patrick's Day. It's actually not. But I don't want to go into a whole show and in-depth analysis about St. Patrick's Day. I've probably done that 60 times in the past. Instead, I want to have some fun. I want to have some fun at our president's expense. If I was doing this show while Trump was in office, I'd have done the same thing. Trust me. So, my friends over at ODN, On Demand News, they don't know I'm doing this, but I'm giving them credit for it. They put a couple little videos together on Biden and some of his finer moments, and I thought I'd share them with you. So this first one that we're going to show is up as Biden has been president up to now. And I think you'll enjoy it. And we'll comment afterwards.
So the best way to get something done, if it holds near and dear to you that you like to be able to, anyway, we're going to get a lot done. Cicadas. I just got one. Got me.
And the president of South Africa, as I said earlier.
Oh, you did?
I did not. I did.
Anyway, we have fewer democracies in the world today than we did 15 years ago. Fewer, not more. Fewer. Just remind him, I wrote the bill on the environment, on the environment, on the environment. Why would I not be for it? That's a serious question, right? It's acceptable to me. Come on. Because of the actions we've taken, things have begun to change. End of quote. In the past 3 weeks, I'm especially honored to share the stage with Brittany and Jordan and Nathan and Margaret Catherine. I love those barrettes in her hair, man. I tell you what. And look at her. She looks like she's 19 years old, sitting there.
That's just
like
creepy
a little
as
lady
shit.
with her legs crossed. Brittany, you're doing triple duty. Anyway.
Meetings going here in Cornwall.
Very well.
How do you realistically and physically keep these families from coming to the U.S. when things will not get better in their countries right away?
I can't guarantee that. But I know, that old thing, the journey of 1,000 miles starts with the first step.
And the President of the United States, Joseph R. Biden, Jr.
You think they could have put that one a little closer?
Why are you so confident he'll change his behavior, Mr. President?
I'm not confident he's changed behavior. What the hell? What do you do all the time? When did I say I was confident? I said, what I said was, let's get it straight. I said what will change their behavior is if the rest of the world reacts to them and it diminishes their standing in the world.
That means you're confident they'll change their behavior, Mr. President. That's a long damn way to walk. Even I would have been pissed off about that.
$1.9 trillion relief so far. The receptionist, the salon. They may be going to the salon. I don't know. Well, look. Thank you, Boris, and I want to thank that fellow down under. Thank you very much, pal. Appreciate it, Mr. Prime Minister. Guess what? Employers can't find workers. I said, yeah, pay them more. Pay them more. Pay them more. Anyway.
I guess I'd have been mad if I had to walk that far.
Thank you.
I would have been pissed if they'd have set that up that far away from me, and then I got to walk all the way across the bridge like that. I'd have been like, bro, I'm the president of the United States of America. Can we put that a little bit closer? Does it have to be a quarter mile away? Like, the first hour of this, of the first part of this press briefing is going to be me walking across the damn bridge. I would have been mad. I would have. I would have been happy about it. That's just the first year this man has been our president. That's right, our president. But that's not the only time. It just, I still think when he turned around and talks about that little girl with the barrettes in her hair and then says, oh, she looks 19. Man, that's some Jeffrey Epstein crap right there. Jeez. That's just, I'm like, man, you need to take that creepy crap somewhere else. That's your president. I mean, he's our president. But that ain't it. Let's look at some of the other things, again, from ODN. Some of the other things the president, before he was president. Let's take a look at some of that.
I want to be clear. I'm not going nuts. The president has a big stick. We choose truth over facts.
Check my shape on it. Let's do push-ups together, man. Let's run. Let's do whatever you want to do.
One man stands ready to deliver change we desperately need. A man I'm proud to call my friend. A man who will be the next president of the United States, Barack America. Ladies and gentlemen, the President of the United States of America, Barack Obama. We can speak out and be more straightforward. I'm not going to be a mule. I got something to do. I got to go do boom, boom, boom.
Hillary Clinton is as qualified or more qualified than I am to be Vice President of the United States of America. Let's get that straight. And quite frankly, it might have been a better pick than me, but she's first rate.
I know I'm called middle class, Joe. It's not meant as a compliment. Means I'm not sophisticated. I want to be clear. I'm not going nuts.
You're a damn liar, man. That's not true. I can get things done. That's why I'm running. And you want to check my shape on it, let's do push-ups together, man. Let's run. Let's do whatever you want to do.
To the words united. To the number 30330. 30330. Or 303-330. Or BOO. Wait. But you got it. That saves billions of gallons of gasoline. I mean, billions of $2.3 billion worth of, $500 billion in savings and 2-point-something billion metric tons of CO2 going in the air. Well, folks, eliminate one tax loophole out of $1.6 trillion worth, $1.4 trillion worth. Out of $1.4 trillion dollars. It's hard to even say it so much. And by the way, it's cost a lot of money. It cost about $740 billion over 10 years. Now is the time to heed the timeless advice from Teddy Roosevelt. Speak softly and carry a big stick. End of quote.
I promise you, the president has a big stick. I promise you.
Joe, you want to administer the oath?
Am I doing this again? My memory is not as good as Justice Roberts, Chief Justice Roberts. I was a Democratic caucus.
Whose memory ain't good
You
now?
ever been to a caucus? No, you haven't. You're a lion, dog, face, pony soldier. You said you were, but you're now you got to be honest. I'm going to be honest with you. We have this notion that somehow if you're poor, you cannot do it. Poor kids are just as bright and just as talented as white kids. Wealthy kids, black kids.
In Delaware, the largest growth in population is Indian Americans moving from India. You cannot go to a 7-Eleven or a Dunkin' Donuts unless you have a slight Indian accent. I'm not joking.
Chuck Graham, state senator's here. Chuck, stand up, Chuck. Let him see you. Oh, God love you.
Chuck's
what am I
in a
talking
wheelchair,
about?
by the way.
I tell you what, you're making everybody else stand up, though, pal. Thank you very, very much. His mom lived in Long Island for 10 years or so. God rest her soul. And although your mom's still alive as your dad passed. God bless her soul. I agree that everybody, once they, in fact, they should. Anyway, my time's up. I'm sorry.
Thank you, Vice President.
Okay, so it's nothing new. It just seems to have gotten worse since he's president of the United States. Somebody tried to tell me the other day that, it's because there's more cameras on him. Oh, no, Joe found cameras when Joe was not president. Joe found cameras when he was... Why do you think, old Joe there, why do you think that Jill Biden, and I'm once again not saying doctor, I refuse to, why do you think old Jill Biden there has to get a hold of him and shuffle him away every time the press starts asking him questions that weren't scripted? Because nobody knows where Joe is going to go. No one knows. Okay? But once again, like I said, and somebody asked me the other day, said, why don't you ever say Dr. Jill? Because, first of all, an honorary doctor's title does not, no. If you knew the history that I did, and unfortunately I can't say about it, I can't say that history on my show, because if I do, not only will I lose, I'll lose the show, I'll lose all access to social media. Ask anybody who's tried to bring up the real story of that whole thing. What's happened to them? But Joe has gotten worse over the years. And in this last year, he has literally forgotten who members of his cabinet is. He has forgotten people who were governors. He has forgotten, like I said again, I started the show off and at the beginning of this show with this nice little gem.
Look at, I was going to say, look at this stage, but that's enough too. Look at the stage. But there's been a little change in the arrangement of who's on the stage because of the First Lady's husband contracting COVID. But
that would be
look
you,
at this
Joe.
room and what you see. Pardon? That's right. She's fine.
So now to cover it up, now he's got COVID.
The second lady, the first gentleman.
Which he's not the first gentleman. The vice president's husband is not the first gentleman. Again, like I said that before, he just completely lost all the way across the board on that. Just completely lost. So, and this is our president. The worst part is you have now, what makes this even worse now is one of the things I'm starting to wonder what's going on here, okay, is you now have both houses telling the President of the United States to send the MiGs over to Ukraine or allow the MiGs to be given to Ukraine, and he's still saying no. Both houses, bipartisanship, saying what we need to do, and he's still saying no. So it just makes you wonder what the hell's going on over there. It's because whoever's actually in charge of the White House is saying no. There's a lot of times when that man does stuff that I really don't think he's the one in charge. It's just a thought. I don't know. You can think it's a conspiracy theory, whatnot. But in all honesty, like I said, I'm not. I just. But anyway, tell me what you think. I got Facebook chat going on over here. I've got the Twitch, YouTube, and all of that chat over this way. I've got other chats over here. By the way, folks, if you really, really like the show and you want to see the show keep going, number one, make sure you click follow or click subscribe, depending on what social media platform you're at. Hit like, so that way it hits your algorithm, so that way every time I come up, you know I'm here. I'm on all kinds of different social media platforms now. I'm on YouTube, Facebook, Twitch, Rumble, Discord, Getter, Twitter, Instagram. Well, try not to get banned on Instagram. I mean, I don't get it. Why is it easier to get banned on Instagram now than it is Facebook when they're owned by the same company? I don't know. I'm on TikTok, but I don't really use it. But if there's anybody that's over on TikTok and would prefer it, when we could do things over there, I got to get to 1,000. You got to get to 1,000 followers before they'll let you go live on TikTok. That's like, wow. That's. I'm not gonna go do some stupid dance so I can get 1,000 listeners though. So I'll just come to the show and get truth. Oh yeah, speaking of which, if y'all saw that, I'm gonna do a show on that. I'm gonna discuss that coming up probably on Monday, maybe, as long as we're not in World War III by then. And I'm not glowing in the dark, but or you're not glowing in the dark. But did you see that the Biden administration turned to TikTok and they got TikTok influencers? That's what they're calling it, TikTok influencers. 3 out of the 4 of them are complete and total morons. One is only popular because she looks hot and she dances. The one that talks about real talk is a complete and total idiot. Anybody that follows that guy, I'd swear the people that like, oh, you speak the truth, man. I swear if he did a bit on driving off a cliff, I bet a majority of his viewers would drive off a cliff. I mean, they're just some idiots, and they found these people, because they have the most followers and views out of everybody on TikTok. Well, no, that's not true, actually. The 3 top followed and viewed people on TikTok are conservatives. The top 3. Go figure. The top 3 influencers or the people with the most followers and views on TikTok are conservative. We didn't get those 3 in the Biden administration to talk about how he didn't cause oil prices to rise in America. And I love this. It's making the rounds on social media. If you think the president of the United States can affect the price of oil, you're an idiot. No, you're a fucking idiot if you believe that. And I've shown this graph on multiple occasions. If you go to the Department of Energy website and you look at the years and the cost of oil, and then you look at the different policies that those presidents made during that and see how it affects the cost of oil, you'd see there is a correlation to things that the president of the United States does. Okay? Russia, China, and the United States are 3 countries on this planet that if they make a decision, they can affect the price of oil. It's a market thing. Okay? If I, as a leader of a country, remove oil from the marketplace, that means there's less oil, which causes the prices to go up. These people who are saying that a president cannot affect the cost of oil on the planet are morons because they don't understand the market system. You know how they keep talking about we should teach certain things in school? We should teach about real history. We should teach. Here's an idea. Why don't you teach people how the fucking market works? Because obviously you didn't. Because all these morons sitting there going, the president can't affect the price of oil. Horse shit. Yes, he can. Yes, the president of the United States can affect the cost of oil. The drilling moratorium that Biden signed. Price of oil jumped. It skyrocketed. Now, I will say this much for the people running around. If we started the Keystone Pipeline back up, oil prices would drop. No. They would drop maybe 5 cents. Maybe 5 cents a barrel. Not gasoline. 5 cents a barrel. The Keystone Pipeline does not flow oil that's used for gasoline. So it really wouldn't. So that's about the only true statement coming out of all this shit. The only thing it would do is cut the cost on that use of oil a few cents, because now you don't require trains and trucks to move it. Okay, so it's cheaper. But if any person sits there and tries to say that a president of the United States, because here's the dumbest ass part of this idea. Here is the dumbest part of the argument. The president of the United States can't affect fuel price or the cost of oil, right? Okay. I got you. I'm listening. Putin's the reason why the oil price is going. What? Hold on. What? The president of the United States can't affect the price of oil, but the president of Russia can. But the United States produces more oil than Russia, but the president of the United States can't, but the president of Russia can. Do you hear the stupidity in their own logic? You know, yes, TJ, the jobs that it makes us go. By the way, thank you, James, for that statement on Facebook. I agree with this man. This man right here is good. Okay, but seriously, think about it, folks. Think about it. The president, because it's on Facebook like crazy. It's on Twitter like crazy. It's on all the social media platforms. The president of the United States can't affect the price of oil, but the president of Russia can. The United States produces more oil than Russia does. But the president of the United States cannot cannot affect the price of oil, but the president of Russia can. The president of China can. Well, he's not technically. The dictator of China. Okay. How is it that President Xi and President Putin can affect the price of oil, but President Biden cannot? Somebody explain that to me. Your logic is stupid. Hey, Dean. Okay? That argument alone is the most moronic thing possible. And when you try to point it out to them, because I did it today, I pointed it out to somebody and said, the president can very well do this. Right? The president can affect the cost of oil. They said, no, he can't. I said, then why are you saying Biden can? Or why are you saying Putin can? Because he is affecting the cost of oil. But he's a president of a country that produces less oil than us. So how is it he's affecting it, but Biden can't? And they literally, this is what I got told. Oh, it's because you're a Trump white supremacist is why you believe that. Are you serious? That's your response. When I can point out the flaw in your logic, because there is no logic. In fact, it's not hard to point the flaw because of that. By the way, hey, welcome, Dean. Black Wolf's in here as well, over on the Facebook chat. But so these morons, when you're on social media and somebody goes, the president of the United States can't affect the cost of oil, but then in another sentence they go, but the president of Russia can. Explain to me how. How can one do it and the other one can't? That's the logic in which you are portraying right there is just ignorant beyond belief. It's because you're stuck with a guy that is an embarrassment as a president, and you now have to tote the party line to try and say whatever they're telling you to say. well, they're saying that Putin is responsible, but we can't do that change, so we're going to stick with it. If you stop and think on your own. I made these same arguments when Trump was doing shit. And it's like, you can't make that argument because it is happening. It's the same. People, when you back a party to the point of ridiculousness, sometimes you really need to look in the mirror and see where the flaw is. The flaw in the logic is somewhere between the keyboard and the floor. I did tell somebody today after they went on and on and on about it, trying to explain it with logic that did not work at all. It wasn't logic. It was just insanity. I said, you are suffering from an ID10 error. And they looked at me and they were like, what is an ID10? I was like, if you look at how I spelled ID10, it would tell you you're an idiot. But it is that's the asinine part about it. And then when you corner them on it and you say, look, here you go. This is where you're wrong. They call you the counter argument is it's because you're a Trump supporting white supremacist. Or you're a neo-Nazi conservative. No. Your logic makes no sense. Biden sitting there blaming Putin for everything and then says that he can't do this. Trust me when I say this, the president of the United States can do everything the president of Russia is doing and can do. Okay? To a point. We're not, well, okay, never mind. I was going to say, well, we're not locking up protesters, but nope, we did that too. Okay? Seriously. So the next time you see somebody trying to sit there and spout the bullshit, well, Biden's not responsible for the price of oil going up. Putin is. Just turn around and look at it and say, do you realize what you just said? One president can, but the other one can't? When the other president is more powerful than the one who is doing it? Blackwell's bringing up Burisma. You know, but I will tell you that on the jobs it makes, though, yes, if the Keystone Pipeline was back in operation, yes, there would be a lot of jobs created because of it being back in action. Actually, the XL section. Did you guys know that actually part of that Keystone Pipeline is still in operation today? It's just the XL portion of it that's not. Did you know the Keystone Pipeline actually existed and the XL was an expansion onto it? A lot of people don't realize that when they start talking about it. And this is where the conservatives get stuck in a pickle. Well, the Keystone Pipeline's not running at all. That's incorrect. The Keystone Pipeline is operational. It's the Keystone XL pipeline they shut down. But yes, Black Wolf, you're correct. It would create a lot of jobs. It's kind of like the president running around. We created 6.5 million jobs. No, you didn't. And then when you provide the facts on that, when you get called a Trump-loving white supremacist as well. When COVID-19 hit, 6 million jobs were shut down. That's what the Department of Labor has figured out. It was about 6 million jobs were shut down during the pandemic. Isn't it ironic that we've gotten on the other side of the pandemic and they suddenly have created 6.5 million jobs? Like I said before, I'll give the president credit for about 500,000 jobs over the period of a year. I might even stretch that a little bit further and say 750,000, maybe a million jobs. But not 6.5. 6 million jobs were shut down during the pandemic. We're on the other side of the pandemic, and 6.5 million jobs have come back into the market. Isn't that ironic? See, I deal in numbers. I deal in numbers because numbers don't lie. Okay, that's why that's why the logic that I use is sound, because I use the numbers. And that's what you need to do. For those of you that are fighting these fights, understand the numbers. Utilize the numbers. Yes, the president of the United States can affect the cost of oil. We've seen it. When Trump was getting the price of oil to come down by putting more and more and more oil into the market, the price was dropping. Why? Market system says the more product you have of something, when you have more product than you do demand, the cost will continue to drop to increase the demand until they level out. Same thing happens the other way. When you have more demand than you have product, the prices will go up until the demand on the product levels out. It's market 101. Okay, Biden signs moratoriums that takes oil and gas out of the market. Prices go up. It's still market 101. And now inflation. Well, the president didn't cause that. No, actually, both presidents caused that. Both Trump and Biden caused this inflationary problem we're having now. Trump did warn of this in the beginning when he said that they were going to be giving out the rescue checks. Trump said that we needed to be careful of this because it will cause inflation to go through the roof. When you put more money in the market than you have products, the value of the money goes down because they're going to start skyrocketing the price of the products to get the demand down. Why? Because now more people have money. They have more demands. COVID caused a lot less of stuff to be produced. Well, lots of people with money, less products means high demand, low availability, prices went through the roof. Inflation. The value of your dollar is now worth less because there's more of it. It's like, look at it this way, and this is the way I explain it to people. And then I'm going to pretty much finish up this rant here, but let me explain how this works for you. Take a look at this. All right, and this is more recent. Tom Brady's last touchdown pass he threw before his retirement. A man bought it on an auction for $500,000. Tom Brady comes out of retirement, which means now there's going to be more touchdown balls. That $500,000 ball is now not worth $500,000 the moment that Tom Brady throws a touchdown. But somebody bought it. Why? It was the last one. There was a lot of people who wanted it, and there was only one. So it went to the highest bidder. He paid a lot of money for it. Now, on the backside of this, Tom Brady's going to play another season. He's going to have a bunch more touchdown balls. Not as many people are going to want it. The value of those balls are going to go down. Market 101. Remove items from the market. Demand goes up. Prices go up. Put items into the market. Demand goes down. Folks, it's real simple. So yes, the President of the United States, the President of China, the President of China, the King of Saudi Arabia, the Ayatollah Khomeini of Iran can affect the cost of oil. The President of Venezuela can affect the cost of oil. Period. If you are producing something that goes into the market and you withdraw that amount, it will cause the price to go up. It causes the value to go higher. That's it. All right, ladies and gentlemen, I hope you loved the show tonight. I went on a little bit longer than usual. Usually I try to stick this to an hour, but I went a little over an hour. I hope you enjoyed the show. For everybody over there in Facebook land that's been chiming in over there, I hope you enjoyed it. Kill Mill, who was over here watching on YouTube, I hope you liked it. And like I told you before on your question, if you're paying for services and they're not providing it, I would start bitching immediately. James, it's been a long time. Haven't seen you in forever, brother. Hope you're doing okay. TJ, if you tried to call, it's because I have the ringer turned down. By the way, that would be Senor Black Wolf. But anyway, guys, Dean is out there at Springmore right now. Dean, I hope you've gotten yourself cooled off. Heard it was hot as hell today. That's usually how Springmore works. Hot as shit during the day and cold as hell at night. For all my friends and fans out there that are in Central Texas right now outside of San Antonio at Springmore, hope you're having a great time. Wish I could be there to see you guys. For everybody here at the world famous Rich Wilson Show, I'm Rich Wilson. That's Dave back there. You don't get to see him. Dave, thank you very much. Stretch out. There you go. It's a little bit further back today. Anyway, Dave, thanks a lot for everything that you do for the show. By the way, how you like the background? Built that in the garage today, and I screwed it up. It's too tall. If you don't notice, it's actually tilted. I got to take it down, take it apart, shorten it. I tried. This is what I get for not having my significant other here. She's the engineer. And I tried to build something on my own, and it went horrible. It really did. But hey, I tried. You know, I thought it looks great once I get it straight. I don't know. Tell me what you think about the new background. Anyway, hey, because that's legitimate. That's real. That's not fake. Anyway, folks, you guys have yourselves a wonderful night. Have yourselves a wonderful weekend. I'll see you back here on Monday, folks. Remember, I don't do a show on Friday. We're Monday through Thursday. We didn't have the show on Wednesday because I had to get my significant other and my friend Jackal off to Spring War. I had physical therapy. I had a bunch of crap to do. But next week we're going to have shows hopefully every single day next week, unless we're glowing in the dark. Don't glow in the dark. All right? If the bombs are coming, just go outside, have a beer, light yourself a smoke, and just wait for it to come to an end. Which we all hope it doesn't, because I want to keep doing this show. I love doing this show. I love talking to you all. But anyway, folks, have yourselves a wonderful evening. For everybody here at the world-famous Rich Wilson Show, I'm Rich Wilson. You're not, which that actually probably is a good thing. Trust me, because you don't want to live in this insanity. We'll see you later. Bye.
What you just said is one of the most insanely idiotic things I have ever heard. At no point in your rambling, incoherent response were you even close to anything that could be considered a rational thought. Everyone in this room is now dumber for having listened to it.